We explain the roots of the French Revolution in the late 1780s. Enlightenment philosophies were swirling in the air around the salons of France. Over here was some John Locke's belief in the rights of the individual. Over there was Rousseau's belief in the general will and citizens acting for civic virtue over self-interest. And yet on that street corner there was Voltaire's belief that individual liberty under the rule of enlightened absolute monarchs was best. Montesquieu's checks and balances over there, and a touch of republicanism thrown in over there. However, the reality was France's ancien regime was coming apart at the seams, ready to burst. The Third Estate was filled with resentment towards the First and Second Estates because they had to carry the tax burden, and they lacked job opportunities, and the drought had left rising prices on bread. Inside the Third Estate, the urban workers were working for low wages. The peasants were broke from paying taxes on everything like manor fees and the corvée, which required they work for free to make infrastructure repairs for the benefit of France. The Enlightenment made many people begin to wonder why they were carrying these burdens. But at the same time, France was deeply in debt and paying its bills in deficit spending. The money had gone to Louis XIV and the other kings spending on the court, the cost of the French Indian War, and the cost of aiding the American Revolution. It also went into the interest payments on excessive borrowing. Combined with bad harvests and rising food costs, the king saw no choice but to raise taxes on the Third Estate. Jacques Necker, financial advisor to Louis XVI, pushed the king to make reforms before it was too late. His advice was to reduce lavish spending, cut the fat from government, lower tariffs, and begin taxing the First and Second Estate with the Third Estate. The king reluctantly called the Estates General together to see if there was interest in reform after the bread riots and the realization of France's near bankruptcy. The Estates General was not often used for fear the nobility would undermine absolutism. Each estate would be given one vote. The king had each estate come up with a list of complaints in notebooks called cahiers. The upper states mostly feared taxation. However, the third wanted a more English system of rights, free religion, juries, freedom of the press, a national legislature, deregulation, and job choices. When the Estates General met in 1789, each group was given one vote, which meant the Third Estate was outvoted almost every time by the First and Second. Naturally, the idea of taxing the other two estates failed, as did many other proposals from the Third Estate, which was the majority population of France. Many of the delegates who'd been elected to serve the Third Estate were well-educated lawyers and well-versed in the salon ideas of the Enlightenment. They made a bold move in their frustration at the Estates General by declaring themselves to be a national assembly where votes would be taken by head count and not equally. Sensing a change in the wind, several reform-minded members of the First and Second Estate joined the Third Estate in the Assembly, and then they helped them hold their ground on the first day at Versailles to get recognized by the king. However, on the second day, they found themselves locked out by the king, and they moved their meeting to the tennis courts, where they swore an oath to stand together until they had their rights. The French Revolution was beginning.